Do I have the book? Hey pals, Alicia here. I hope you are doing well. And if you're new here, this is a place where we talk about books. Today I am here to do the Do I Have That Other book tag. A few months ago I did the Do I Have That book tag and it was a lot of fun to do. I really enjoyed putting it together, so I thought I would do the follow-up tag to that tag. This was a tag that was created by Keeping Tabs, and it's just a list of 20-ish questions for you to like scavenger hunt your shelves. The last time I did the tag, I did the challenge on my red bookshelf, so I knew all of those books pretty well because I read them already. But today, I'm going to try and challenge myself and do the scavenger hunt on just my TBR shelf. So all of the books that I haven't read yet. I'm gonna try and stay within this shelf, but if I have to, I will go find it somewhere else on one of my other shelves. But this is where I'm gonna try and stay for the duration of the challenge. So the way this will work is I'll stand up here in front of my shelf. Josh will be off screen, reading me the questions. And then we're gonna time it. We're gonna see how we do. I obviously wanna, get a fast time, but I know I'm not gonna beat the time to beat. I don't even know what the time to beat is. I'll list the time to beat here. And we're just gonna find some books. We're gonna have a good time, stand around the shelf, get to know our books, and scavenge for them. So without further ado, I've actually already pre-filmed the scavenger hunt, so I'm gonna insert that footage here. And then I also like to just talk about the books that I found as well. So we'll intersperse the scavenge with some communications. How does that sound? So without further ado, let's dive into the challenge. So I'm gonna start my timer. Then Josh is gonna read me the questions. You ready to go? Mm-hmm. Okay, we're gonna go in 1, 2, 3, start.
Do you have a book with a fox on the cover or part of the plot?
Yes, I just talked about this book. Where is it? The Plague Dogs has a fox. We've got The Plague Dogs by Richard Adams. There is a fox on the cover. He's so tiny, but he's there. He's a fox on the cover, and he's also integral to the plot of the story. This is a story about Ralph and Snitter, who are two dogs that escape from a testing facility, and then a fox helps them on their merry way. It was just really convenient that I remembered that this book was on my shelf because I talked about it just a couple weeks ago. So we're already winning. We're already winning this challenge.
Do you have a book that was published the year you were born or within a 3-year radius?
Something published near 1988. Octavia Butler, Lilith's Brood. 3 books were published in 1987, 88, and 89. I was born in 1988. I lucked out with Lilith's Brood, aka the Xenogenesis series by Octavia E. Butler. This is a science fiction series that is promised to explore themes of sexuality, gender, and race. I haven't read this yet. I am planning on reading this as part of the Octavia E. Butler slow read-along whenever these books come up. And there are 3 books in this series, and they were published in 1987, 88, and 89, and I was perfectly born in 1988, right in the middle of that.
Do you have a book with music as a weapon or magic?
Books with bards! I don't know. Bards. Bardic. Magic. Weapon. Bards with weapons. What about We Sold Our Souls? there's like devil music. I came up with We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix, which is a horror by him, but he always has a little bit of like comedy, feel good, heart mixed in with his horror as well. In this one, we are following a woman who was a rock star earlier in her career. She kind of fizzled out. And her bandmates, or one of her bandmates, possibly sold his soul to the devil. So music and the devil. Music as a weapon? Music and magic? I think so. I think that checks out.
Do you have a series with mismatched covers?
Book 2 and 3 in the Wayfarer series do not match. Point A, I do not read a lot of series. And point B, if I do own a series, guaranteed they have mismatched covers. I am not picky about having covers match on my shelf. I'm just here to get a budget buy when I can. So I have books 2 and 3 in the Wayfarer series. I have read book 1, so book 1's over on the red shelf, and then book 2 has this sort of design, and then book 3 has this one.
You have a book with a shapeshifter.
I do. Oh no, it's not here. Consider Phlebas. You lent it to someone. Book with a shapeshifter. I assume that werewolves are shapeshifters. That's my take. Werewolves are also shapeshifters, correct? I'm pretty sure that's the thing that they do. They shift from a person to a wolf. They've shifted shape. And so we've got Mongrels by Stephen Graham Jones. This is on my TBR for this month as part of Read-a-thon. So I have not read this one yet. Very excited to. It's about werewolves. So it's about shapeshifters. Shapeshifters.
Do you have a book signed by the author?
Yes. I have Rant. I've got Rant by Chuck Palahniuk, and it is signed and dated from 2007 on the Rant tour. This book tour was really fun because he, as per the kind of plot of the book, he asked everybody who went to his show to wear wedding dresses, and then we got to take like marriage photos with Chuck Palahniuk. It was really weird, but I did it. I wore a wedding dress, and he signed it. He signed my book, and I have a nice wedding photo somewhere. I can't remember where it is, but I have it. Rant, Chuck Palahniuk. When I was a teen, I absolutely loved Chuck Palahniuk. I thought he was like the greatest thing ever. Couldn't be beat. I loved all his weird dark stuff, and I've kind of fallen out of, I haven't really fallen out of love with him. I just haven't felt the desire to pick up anything by him in a while. But we got Rant.
Do you have a book with a mostly red cover?
And it's called Red. Do I have a book with a mostly red cover? So I certainly do. And it's also called Red by Jack Ketchum. This is a horror thriller, I assume, by our man Jack Ketchum. This book is about a bunch of teenagers that kill an old man's dog. Why? Because they're shit. And then it turns into a story of revenge. So when I saw this on the shelf, I got big John Wick energy, and I really wanted to follow this old man's rampage, because I feel the rage. I feel his rage for that. So, book with mostly red, called Red.
You have a book between 287 and 306 pages.
What did you say?
287 to 306.
Ooh. Mexican Gothic is 301. This is always the cruelest question in these things, but I found it. We have Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This is a Gothic horror that is new to my shelf, and I am really excited to read this one. This is 301 pages. I can't seem to make it focus, but just trust me. It's 301 pages. And this is a Gothic horror set in Mexico in the 50s. And it is about a woman that gets a frantic letter from a cousin to go to see her in her, creepy mansion. Love creepy mansions. Love Gothic horror. I've heard lots of things about this, both good and bad. So that just makes me even more hyped for it to see where I fall on the spectrum. So I hope to be getting to this one this soon.
You have a book with a main character who wears glasses.
How the heck am I supposed to know that? Whomst knows that the character wears glasses? That this is like a point of knowledge that one would have about the character, unless it's Harry Potter, but I don't think I have those. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Who wears glasses? I have Death Note, and Light Yagami's dad wears glasses. I remembered his fatherly face. We finally figured it out, guys, and we have Death Note. I have the whole Death Note series. I loved this manga series, and in it, Light Yagami's dad, who is the superintendent detective, wears glasses. And I know what you're thinking. So isn't Light Yagami the main character? So does that even count? Well, wrong. Detective Superintendent Yagami, the father with glasses, is one of the main characters. He's in the entire series. He is integral to the plot. He is one of the primo great characters of Death Note. So we're counting it. We're counting it, guys.
You have a book with a title that has the same number of letters in your first name.
6. Sphere. Can we just take a moment to lament at that scene where I had to count on my fingers to 6? Sphere by Michael Crichton. This is a thriller, a sci-fi thriller about, I think it's underwater. Yeah, in the middle of the South Pacific, 1,000 feet below the surface of the water, a huge vessel is discovered. I believe I have seen the movie, but I can't remember. So, you know what? I love Jurassic Park, so let's try Sphere as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You have a book with cybercrime technology as a plot point.
Snow Crash. We got Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson. This is on my November TBR. We'll be reading this soon. This is cyberpunk. So if you got cyberpunk, you got cybercrime. So in Snow Crash, we're following a guy named hero protagonist who delivers pizza by day, and then by night he goes and kicks butt with a sword in the metaverse. So sounds like technology. Sounds like cybercrime to me.
You have a book written in another language or translated to English.
Diving pool. I found found The Diving Pool by Yoko Ogawa. This is a collection of 3 novellas. Yoko Ogawa has has an awesome blend of literary, contemporary, and sometimes horror in her stories. This was originally published in Japanese and then translated into English. A trio of novellas about love, motherhood, fertility, obsession, and how even the most innocent gestures contain a hairline crack of cruel intent. This will have been my 3rd Yoko Ogawa, and I am really excited to get to it.
You have a book written by an Asian author.
The Hole by Hee-young Pyun, Korean. We've got The Hole by Hee-young Pyun. This was originally published in South Korea, and this is a horror thriller about a man who gets into a car accident that puts him in an entire body cast with 1,000,000 broken bones, and his wife unfortunately died in this crash. And while he is healing, he is put into the care of his mother-in-law, and I believe there's a hole involved. I have heard very mixed things about this book, but I still want to check it out for myself.
You have a book with a moon on the cover.
Moon! Oh. Moon. We've got Tiny Nightmares, which is a collection of very short horror short stories. I believe this small little book promises about like 40 plus horror short stories, all written by different horror authors. And that could not be more of my jam. I love horror. I love short stories. And then a whole bunch of them by a whole bunch of authors. Sign me right the heck up. And there's a perfect little full moon there. Perfect little full moon for some creeps.
You have an illustrated children's book.
What? What? Heck. Oh. That has illustrations. I've got Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. I do not read a lot of children's books. I do not read a lot of middle grade. I do not read a lot of YA. But something about this book just really intrigued me when I heard about it, but I still haven't read it yet. Hopefully soon. And it definitely has those like intro chapter illustrations. I believe this is about a young girl who is cursed, and then I think she's like gonna be murdered or something, but instead she gets taken by a magic man who brings her to a school for magics. So I'm cool with that. Let's try it.
Do you have a collection of fairy tales or myths?
I do! I've got Mythos by Stephen Fry. These are the Greek myths retold. I love Greek mythology. I love Greek mythology retellings. So this just 100% sounds like something I would be interested in. So yeah, I believe this is just a retelling of a bunch of Greek mythologies.
Do you have a sci-fi fantasy with an alliance between races?
Alliances. Oh my gosh. The culture! The culture! The Culture series. Lots of alliances. We've got The Culture series by Ian M. Banks. There's about 12 or 13 books in this series. I have read the first 5, I think. So this is a series that I have been trucking along with for years. So yeah, epic sci-fi world building series. The general conceit is that there is this place called the Culture, which is basically a utopia that is melding all different cultures, races, planets all together into one giant thing. And the whole culture is controlled by AI. So they're controlled by basically like AI machines called minds. This is a very expansive series, and it's one of those series where every novel is a standalone that happens to just take place in this universe. So you obviously get more out of them if you read them in order, because you get like hints to different events that happened in previous books, but you do not have to read them in order. They are all standalone stories that just take place in this expansive world of the culture.
You have a book with a narrow front cover, paperback with a front cover that is slightly trimmed shorter, narrower than the rest of the book.
I definitely.
Just finishing the question.
Oh God. Oh God. We got The Lost Man by Jane Harper. I've got The Lost Man by Jane Harper. We've got this little narrow cover here. This is a standalone thriller that is about two brothers, and their third brother is found dead. So the murder mystery of that, but also uncovering a bit of hidden secrets about these brothers, because maybe they did kill their brother. Who knows? Gotta read it to find out. The Lost Man. How did he get lost?
Do you have a book that includes the first chapter of the sequel?
Ooh. Nevernight has the first chapter of God's Grave. We've got Nevernight by J. Kristoff, which is the first book in a series. And this is following a girl named Mia Corvair, who probably had some sort of tragedy happen to her, and then she goes to assassin school to become an assassin. I have heard so much of this book on booktube, and I definitely picked it up because of the hype, but I have never actually wanted to read it. So let me know since then, since the hype got me. So let me know if you read this and if it's great. And I need to just get re-hyped for this at some point. And this has the first chapter of the sequel, which is God's Grave. I'm beginning to learn that maybe I don't like series as much as I thought I did, because I have problems picking them up. I think it's just like the commitment involved in it, but hopefully I read this at some point, because I did buy it, and that would be a waste.
Do you have a book with a broken spine?
Fear. I've got Fear by Ronald Kelly. This has got a nice crispy, creasy spine. This is a coming-of-age horror about a 10-year-old boy living in a community where there is some sort of flesh-eating creature that feasts on the blood of innocent children. And I love coming-of-age stories. I love stories of children versus evil. I think this book was recommended to me after I read and enjoyed Summer of Night by Dan Simmons. So hopefully I get to this one soon. Fear. It lives in everyone. Isn't that the truth?
There's a bonus question.
Yes.
Do you have a book that covers 3 or more of the above prompts simultaneously?
Broken spine. Can you just list a couple?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the year that I was born? Within 3 years?
Yeah. Either way.
So this has got a broken spine. It was published in 1991. And I was published in 1988, and it's got a moon on the cover behind the R. Or Bert. Is 3 within 1991 within 3 years?
Yeah.
88, 89, 91. Yeah! This one does it all!
Like you said, you were published in 1988.
I was published. I did it! Okay. We did it, oh, in 16 minutes and 66 seconds. Devil's numbers. So there you have it, a nice scavenger hunt. Thanks for being here, guys, and just watching this absolute nonsense. Let me know if you've read any of the books that came up in the scavenger hunt. Like I said, all of the books that I tried to find here were ones on my TBR shelf, so I haven't actually read them yet. This was a fun way to just get like reintroduced and hyped about some of the books that I haven't read. Take care out there, pals. Stay safe, stay spooky, and until next time, see you, bye!